Now at 5 a.m. on WKYT this morning, we're continuing to investigate a robbery where 2 men were shot. 1 man remains on the loose while 2 others appear in court later today. The latest coming up in a live report.
We're learning more this morning about a missing persons case out of Nelson County after hundreds of pages worth of documents were released.
And officials expect a significant number of ticket challenges at tonight's big Taylor Swift concert. We'll have details and more information to help you be able to go to the concert and have no trouble coming up on WKYT this morning.
Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT This Morning.
Good morning to you. Welcome in. It's your Tuesday, October 20th, and we're glad you're along today. I'm Bill Bryant.
And I'm Rebecca Smith. Wish I could just order up this weather for the next 6 months.
Wouldn't it be nice? Yeah, bottle it up and sell it here in a couple of months.
Yeah.
When
it's a little chilly, but, you know, just that right chilliness.
Even that's going away, it sounds like. Let's check in with Micah as we're expecting warmer days.
Warmer days is right. I mean, we get into the next few days and we'll see the 70s. And not just 70s, but well into those. Frankfurt right now, outside, we're in the 40s. It's about a 5 to 10 degree swing from where we were yesterday morning, kind of depending on where you are. But look at these temperature differences. This is the way it's going to be in South and Southeastern Kentucky. 45 in Jackson, 36 now in Harlan. Look at London, Corbin area, 38, but the rest of us sitting there in the 40s. 68 by the afternoon. That's about 5 degrees higher than where we were yesterday. And we'll be seeing those sunny skies, too. The focus of the forecast the next few days, it'll feel phenomenal. Beautiful. Beautiful fall weather in store, much warmer conditions. I'll have those numbers coming to you in just about 10 minutes.
Okay, thank you, Micah. We'll see you then. We have new information this morning about a violent robbery and shooting.
It happened at a home on Windy Knoll Drive that's near Manor Warren Armstrong Mill yesterday. 2 of the suspects are headed to court today, one of whom was shot during the crime. WKYT's Mark Barber is live from the Fayette County Courthouse. Good morning.
Good morning, Rebecca. And police are still looking for a 3rd person in the case this morning. But as you just mentioned, police have already made 2 arrests in this case. Now, those 2 men will be walking here to the Fayette County District Courthouse later today to answer to their charges of first-degree robbery for the first time. Now, the 2 men accused in this case, 17-year-old Jonathan James and 18-year-old Rayvon Brown, police say they tried to rob people in a home on Windy Knoll Drive around 1:30 yesterday afternoon. One of the people inside the home was shot. Police think that the shooter is that 3rd person who they are still searching for. Investigators say that this was a targeted crime. The teens who are now charged with robbery knew one of the people in the home, and that person is now facing drug charges. Officers tell us when they got to the home, Brown was overpowered by the people there and they were holding him for police. Now, there were actually 2 shootings that happened during that attempted robbery. Police say that James, the 2nd suspect, was also shot. According to officers, he ran from the home, but then showed up at the police department on Center Parkway with a gunshot wound. We're told that both he and the other person who was shot, who actually lived in that home, are both expected to survive. Now, again, this morning, police are searching for a 3rd person in connection to this case. They say they could really use your help. They're asking anyone with information about the case to send in a tip. They're hoping that could lead them to make this 3rd arrest. That's the latest here in downtown Lexington. I'm Mark Barber, WKYT.
Mark, thank you very much. Court documents are revealing some new details this morning about a mother of 5 who went missing in Nelson County.
And those documents shed new light onto why police think Crystal Rogers' boyfriend may be behind her disappearance. WKYT's Hillary Thornton joins us from the live desk with more on what we're learning about this case.
Good morning. A lot of new developments in this investigation, with law enforcement now considering Rogers dead, naming her boyfriend as a suspect, and his brother, a police officer, now fired from his position, accused of interfering in the investigation. Nearly 200 pages of documents and several hours of police interviews, hearings, and phone calls were released yesterday. Rogers' boyfriend, Brooks Houck, sat down with police for about 2 hours in a taped interview. The video shows Houck becoming emotional and still claiming his innocence, agreeing to cooperate. Houck told detectives about the night of July 3rd when he says around 7 that evening he went to his family farm with Crystal and their son to feed the livestock. Investigators then asked him about a burn pile on that farm that search dogs have hit on. He told detectives he remembered lighting a trash fire there. A nearby camera at his aunt's home captured him leaving the farm just before midnight. He says he left there with Crystal, but when he woke up the next morning, she was gone. Now, during this interview, Houck's brother called. Brooks is heard telling him, quote, "I am innocent. I haven't done anything wrong," end quote. Still, the interview ends. Then a week later, Nick Hauk, a Bardstown police officer, comes in to talk with investigators. Detectives asking him about that phone call made during his brother's interview, and then the trip the two made to that farm within 2 hours of the interview. Hauk says he can't remember what went on there. Investigators then asking him about neighbors seeing him taking something out of his police cruiser, a spot search dogs then hit on. He also had no explanation for that. Now, Hauk goes on to say he never helped move a body or destroy evidence, and that his brother is not capable of doing what he is accused of. Meanwhile, Roger's family and search crews are scaling back their efforts to find the missing mother. At the live desk, Hillary Thornton, WKYT.
Well, we are learning more this morning about a Russell County man who was caught driving his tractor trailer drunk. The Houstonville police chief gave us some cruiser camera footage. The driver, 56-year-old Roman Samlot of Russell Springs, was driving nearly 80 miles an hour along Highway 127 yesterday morning. According to court documents, Samlot initially refused to pull over. When he did finally stop, a state trooper said he was extremely drunk and had 20 open beers in his cab. He now faces multiple charges, including DUI and fleeing and evading police.
The time is 5:06 now on WKYT this morning. A man charged in connection to several armed robberies around the city is expected to be in court today. Police say Levanta Davis committed 5 robberies in the last 2 months in Lexington. He was already in jail accused of crashing a stolen car into a Lexington house. Police say Davis robbed Common Grounds on Heartland Parkway twice, as well as Krispy Kreme and the Dairy Mart on East Reynolds Road and the Subway on East Main Street. He is expected to be arraigned on his new charges today. What Lexington police say started out as a joyride for a group of teens ended in a crash. Police say a 15-year-old took his mother's car while she was asleep. They say his 12-year-old brother and 17-year-old sister went along for the ride. But officers tell us the car crashed into another car on Deauville Drive in the Cardinal Valley neighborhood. A woman in the car that was hit had to be cut out of it. She was taken to the hospital and had only minor injuries. Police say the 15-year-old will be cited for driving without a license.
New this morning, the search is suspended for a Kentucky man who's been missing for more than a month in Washington state. Sheriff's deputies say 39-year-old Austin Oldfield from Louisville was last heard from on September 17th in Skamania County near the Oregon border. They say he told his girlfriend he was going out to spend 2 weeks camping. Last week, deputies found Oldfield's car. Dozens of people went out looking for him but came up empty-handed. Well, there's a happy ending this morning in the search for a missing Clark County man. Clark County Emergency Management says last night, 89-year-old Leon McKinney was found safe in Virginia. McKinney had been missing since Sunday afternoon. He told his family he was going to Bath County but never returned home.
Shareholders for one of Kentucky's biggest employers have approved a merger with a competing firm. Back in July, Aetna announced that it was buying Louisville-based Humana for $37 million. Monday, shareholders for both companies overwhelmingly voted in favor of a merger. Federal regulators are expected to make a final decision on whether or not the companies can merge within the coming months. Both Humana and Aetna are expected to close the sale by the end of next year. The first U.S.-built Lexus vehicles are rolling off the assembly line at the Toyota plant in Georgetown. The new assembly line at the plant unveiled the first ES350 model during a ceremony yesterday. Toyota invested more than $350 million in the project, which also added more than 700 new jobs. The plant will build 50,000 of those cars each year. The first ES350 will stay at the Georgetown plant, where it will go on display.
Well, thousands of Taylor Swift fans will fill Rupp Arena tonight for her much-anticipated concert, but there could be some ticket challenges. The arena says attendants should be aware about both counterfeit tickets and new printed home tickets. Concertgoers who bought their tickets on a secondary market like Craigslist should arrive early tonight to make sure their tickets are valid.
Craigslist ad seemed very personable. It wasn't just like 2 tickets this price. They went into full detail of like where they were. And
I think it said, "I am a real person." It all seemed very valid.
Officials at Rupp say only tickets purchased at the ticket office or at Ticketmaster are guaranteed to be legitimate. So leave yourself a little extra time, as is the case for most things.
Right, but it looks like a great show
Yeah,
coming
it does.
tonight. A lot of folks really, really excited to be there. All right, we're coming up on 5:10 and WKYT this morning, and your Tuesday's just getting underway.
While tickets may be sold out for tonight's Taylor Swift concert, tickets for the new Star Wars film are not. We'll have the details on this in a few.
And the Simpsons are to thank for a proposed name change for Australia's currency. I'll tell you why they want to change how you make change down under. Coming up in a bit.
Things look really good outside, and that's going to be the case the next several days. It's not about the look, it's about the feel. I'll show you much warmer conditions coming up.